Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Mike Nierychlo Online. Today, before I get my tasting started, I want to cover a small topic with you that I've already touched on in my past episodes, but I haven't really made clear to you yet. I want to talk about the 100-point wine rating system. Why we use it, what is it, what's it all about? I'm sure lots of you have heard about it. You walk around the liquor stores, you'll see little tags and signs on featured wines that got higher scores, things like that. Again, it's based on a scale of 1 to 100 points. The only numbers that really matter and count in that scale are between 80 and 100. The background of the 100-point wine rating system, a man named Robert Parker, a world-renowned wine critic, came up with the system, and there's lots of things I agree with and disagree with about the system. I do agree that it's a good system to kind of map out the quality levels of wine. Now, my compromise and my disagreement with that is wine is incredibly subjective. Your palate, your taste won't lie to you. So if you like a wine and you think it's a higher score than it is, then to you, it's probably a higher score. I mean, there's all kinds of little variables that go into the quality of the wine, how it was made, things like that. But again, wine is so subjective, it comes down to your taste. For an example, something I like to compare it to, let's say macaroni and cheese. What if the best chef in the world came to you and said, you have to try my macaroni and cheese, or this macaroni and cheese? It's amazing. And if you put it on the wine rating scale or the point scale, he would say, it's a 98-point macaroni and cheese. It's so complex. It's got this combination of cheeses and meats and greens in it, and you've never had a macaroni and cheese like this. You may try it. You may really like it. You may not. But again, you're basing your taste off what his taste is trying to portray. Now, what I'm getting at, craft dinner. We all love craft dinner. Nobody can deny that. I'm sorry. If you stick that on the 100-point rating scale, it's not going to score very high. It's not a quality food. But we all love it. I mean, it has its time and its place, and there's days where I'm sure you have, I have, we crave a good bowl of craft dinner. I mean, there's all kinds of different macaroni and cheeses between there, and we can rate them however we want. But on a day where you're really craving craft dinner, that craft dinner is a 100-point craft dinner to you no matter what anybody else is trying to serve to you. I hope you kind of get my point. Again, wine is extremely subjective. And it's based on your taste, and your taste comes, it goes, it changes to different varieties, different types. It's all about what you think about it. So bear that in mind. I will use the 100-point rating system. Hopefully you can get an idea of my palate, what I portray certain numbers to reflect in wines, why I think they're that value of number. But again, it's your palate. What I want to brains all over the place. To sort my thoughts out for you, or to give you an idea of how I'll use the wine rating system, like I said earlier, 80 to 100 are really the only numbers in my mind that count. If you see a wine rated under 80 points, I think a lot of us can agree it's a very poor quality wine. It's going to be completely unbalanced, alcohol is probably too high, you're not going to taste any fruit, and it's just going to kind of turn you off. Let's say between 81 and 84. You're going to find average to low quality wines. They'll still have some good taste, some good fruit. They're probably not going to be balanced on your palate. The alcohol may be slightly high, things like that. They're not going to be incredibly enjoyable. But still, decent average wines. And a lot of us will like them in their place. We'll say again, 85 to 89. That I would say is probably the broadest range of wines completely across the scale. Sorry, I got a little distracted there because a truck just pulled in. Hopefully you can't hear it on the camera outside the garage. Anyway, 85 to 89 point wines, the broadest scale of ratings of wines. You're going to find everything from average quality wines, well, let's not say average, let's say above average quality wines to good quality wines. An 89 point wine is a good quality wine. 85, 86, 87, they're all still considerable wines and very enjoyable. I think 87 is probably the most average rating for a wine. And again, 89 is getting up there. If you find a wine between 90 and let's say 94, they're going to come with a price tag. Maybe not so many in the 90s, but getting up to 94, they're going to come with a price tag. They're going to be great wines. The quality is going to be a lot higher. The fruit's really going to reflect what the winemaker is trying to portray. They're going to be very well balanced. They'll pair very nicely with foods. They'll have a really nice length to them, good mouthfeel, and let's just say you'll get a lot of pleasure out of drinking them and smelling them, everything. They're going to go down really well. Again, they're going to come with a bit of a tag, but in the 90 to 92 scale, there's still a lot of good value wines to be found in there. Now, 95 to 100. I think a lot of us in our lifetime may never taste a 95 to 100 point wine. I hope everybody gets to try one, but those are going to be extremely exceptional wines. Those are the wines where the growing season was perfect. The winemaker did everything he should have to make that wine. They're extremely well balanced. The fruit is reflected so well. They're just let's say an amazing wine. There's not many wines that make it into that category, and when they do, they become wines of great value. I mean, there's even market share sold in these wines and things like that. But that's really all I want to touch on for the 100-point scale. I hope it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when I'm using it. And again, I'm going to use it. It's a good rule of thumb. It's become the adapted measurement, and I don't like to put measurements on wine, especially number, because it restricts it so much, but it's become the adapted measurement, so it gives you an idea of the quality of the wine that I've tasted, again with my tasting notes. All right, enough of that. Today, we're going to try a rosé. Now, for those of you, there's lots of people who like rosés. Those of you who haven't tried a rosé, go out and buy a rosé and try one. For the guys watching this, I know you see that it's pink. Who cares? Rosé is an incredible wine and a very good food paired wine. Some of them are awesome. I read an article a while ago called Real Men Drink Pink, and there's no lie to it. You can find some amazing complexities in a rosé. Basically what a rosé is, let's see, I'll bring this back down to you. What causes the red color to a red wine is contact with the fruit juice to the wine skins. The longer you leave it on there, the deeper color you're going to get. The less time you leave it on there, the lighter color you're going to get. So basically in a rosé, they've left the skins and the juice in contact for a minimal amount of time. That's up to the winemaker, but enough to just tint it. And then, when they continue to process making the wine, let it ferment and everything, they do it in much more of a white wine making method. They press it off the skins right away, things like that. So you get a much higher acidic wine, and it's gonna remind you more of a white wine, more of a refreshing wine when you taste it. So, this one is the Seven Stones 2008 Pinot Rosé. It's made 100% from Pinot Noir grapes, giving it a lot more of an Old World reflection. The Old World used a lot of Pinot to make their rosés. I mean, there's all kinds of different variables into making rosé, stuff that I could cover on more later, or you can research yourself. Seven Stones, they're in the Similkameen Valley, again the Okanagan. They're about, let's just show you the bottle here. There you go. They're about 15 minutes east of Carameas and Costin. If you're ever out that way, make sure you stop in there. They're a great couple of homes. It's a beautiful setting, and I've had some really nice wines from them. So let's go ahead and try this one. Like I said, the color pink. What I like about this one, it's a very light rosé, and you'll find heavier bodied rosés and darker rosés. This one's almost an orange or a brickish. It's kind of pink, kind of red, orange, brickish. Very neat, interesting color. So on the nose, I find this one very interesting. You get some really interesting foreign fruits on the nose of this one. A lot of strawberry jumps through. Maybe a tart strawberry, not like an overripe strawberry. And I get a nice sense of grapefruit or something along the lines of that. It's almost the color of grapefruit juice more. And the other thing I get on it is a nice sort of almost light spice, but almost like a white spice, like salt, or like almost like salt water, or a white light pepper. Now on the palate of this one, it portrays a little bit of a tropical fruit play, something like that. The strawberry really comes through. It's a bit riper on the palate. You get a nice sweetness up front, followed by a nice tart, clean acidity that goes all the way back. That gives you a nice reflection of the grapefruit flavor I was speaking of. And again, a really nice just hint of, it's almost like a salty spice, something like that goes down the back into your palate. Now, the one thing I really like about this one is it's got a nice length to it. As I'm talking right now, I'm still tasting all the fruit, all the way through my palate. That defines quality in a wine. I pair this one, and rosés usually pair well with seafood, things like this. I'd pair this one with a nice set of garlic prawns, something like that, some lobster maybe, or some king crab legs dipped in butter. That would be almost a Chardonnay play, but it goes really well with a nice seafood. Back to my point system for a rosé. I'm going to say I would give this one about 88 points. I rather like it. There's nothing off, nothing foul about it. It's quite interesting and nice to drink. And yeah, I think it would pair really nicely with some good seafood. Thanks for coming out today. I hope you learned a little bit about the 100-point scale, a little bit about rosés, and we'll see you next time.